Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Tom Pattinger, joined here by Ryan Bailey, a.k.a. Aggro. And we're going to get into some Smite nonsense, a.k.a. the Gauntlet. Are you excited, a.k.a. electrified?
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't have described myself as electrified beforehand, but I suppose when you put it like that, yeah.
I mean, after that last match, Aggro and I were watching it back in the green room, and one of the things that we really loved was that last Noble play, or that last Salsa Squadron play.
Yeah, it was so crazy that it almost worked. Like, it was one of those moments where Noble they're 5, they're weak, but they can still do fire. They're not that weak. And then 3 members come screaming through the portal, and they're like, really? Okay, and then we'll just kill you and end the game. Unfortunate way for Salsa Squadron to lose the Gauntlet dream, but that's that's the inexperience and different, I guess, like that Challenger Cup sort of different way of thinking about the game at times. It almost ended up working out at the end, but ultimately ends up costing them.
I mean, these are the things that really get me excited for the Gauntlet, to sort of see that style of play.
Sure.
So Salsa takes a step back. It's now going to be Noble versus our final contender. It's PainDeViande and his squad here. What are you expecting out of these guys?
Look, Vigilant is a roster that has been a little bit of flux during this entire split. I mean, the new addition of Mirage into the jungle, that's the biggest question mark for me for Vigilant. Grave looked really, really good during his short time with this roster, but Pain decides to go for the different direction, picks up Mirage. How well can he perform up against Skeeledon? And Skeeledon played very, very well in that game 3 in particular. That Circuit, he made a couple of really important plays that might seem a little wacky, but ended up being critical in the course of the game.
Which is really scary if I'm Vigilant, because Skeeledon is as hot and cold a player as has ever existed, and when you can watch the tournament and you watch him fail and you sit there and go, excellent. And then you watch him crush and you go, please don't play Hebo, right? You just sort of sit there like, what Skeeledon do we have today? And knowing Noble, that they have the good Skeeledon, they're going to select Nemesis for him likely in the jungle with Xing. First pick overall, Raijin for Vigilant.
I like it. I mean, Akillathehun still doesn't have the biggest god pool in that mid lane, but the gods that he's got under wraps, he's very proficient at. Yes. And Raijin being one of those. That's why we see the Soul ban from Noble, because that's his most comfortable god. Smart ban from them.
Izanami and Soul banned out, as you mentioned, which leaves Artio open. We will see Vigilant play it, though not in the support role, as we have seen that Artio not really a support-esque style.
It's kind of player dependent. Like Sun Wukong could be played support back in the day, sure, if it sort of fit your play style. Artio feels the same way to me. Guys like Rapper and Trix Tank are going to play well on things like Artio support, but for PainDeViande in particular, Ganesha being his god of choice certainly fits his play style more.
Real quick aside, Izanami, new adjustments worth the ban early on?
I think it's player dependent. I do think she's really good, and anytime Izanami's good, she's first pick. I mean, that's just the way that she affects the game with how good her early clear is. This tells me that Noble either have heard or know about Vigilant practicing about that I think it's going to be more mid lane than ADC, though.
All right. Well, Izanami off the table, leaving Cernunnos as the hunter of choice for PainDeViande and his crew. Last selection will be the Thanatos in the jungle. So we saw him once earlier today. Energy were able to really clean up with adapting on the Thanatos, specifically into the Khepri. This time around, why do we see the Thanatos?
Because Mirage is playing in the jungle for Vigilant. The end. That's just a comfort pick for him.
Yes.
And, I'm always down for comfort picks. I've always stood by guys who want to pick gods that might not necessarily, not the meta or whatever. I don't care. If you're going to play well on it, play it. It doesn't matter.
And I don't think there's anything about Thanatos. There are characters that are outside of the meta, that certain things about their kit keep them down on the tier list, quote unquote, or outside of the meta. Thanatos isn't that guy. He's one of those creatures where the other choices wind up just above him as far as the raw kickball order. But at the end of the day, Thanatos is still going to get the job done. You don't need me to tell you that. Adapting goes ahead and selects him, and here we are seeing him on Mirage. As he said, one of his go-to guys.
And the Xing Chen pick here for Wubbn is a little bit curious for me. He does have good control up against gods without CC immune ultimates, and Ganesh and Artio both fit that bill. It also gives him a way to get up and over the Dharmic pillars. Most Guardians are just kind of stuck and have to take that big slow damage and prot shred from the Ganesh ultimate. So this is an option to get Wubbn up and out of that ultimate, but it is a little bit more risky. I mean, this is a god that does have trouble when silenced because his dash is 2 parts. You can silence out the dash after the initial one, as well as even if he picks up Blink, PainDeViande is so good at timing that Ohm correctly to mess up that initiation.
At the same time, I am very excited to see Wubbn on the Xing, mainly because Wubbn has proven to be adept at playing the gods that he can pilot, and the gods that he can't, he doesn't show up at all. And seeing him on the Xing, I don't think I've seen this yet, and so this just might be another selection for him that works out well.
I believe he played it earlier on today and found at least a little bit of success with it, but I don't disagree with you. Wubbn is usually the guy that you're looking at for Noble that you need him to be more consistent. He's one of the players that still has a lot to work on to be an SPL, top SPL caliber player. So him on something like Xing that can end up working out very well, but also has some risk to it, is inherently a little bit scary.
Well, right now, we're able to see Vigilant pick up their own blue buff. Noble comes to the invade a little bit late. PBAOE stun from MandoWarrior is going to be strong, and Mirage leaving his solo laner to make it back there by himself. Probably a good choice. Mirage now has his scythe back off of cooldown, looking for the burst, and he whiffs! That's a big deal when you're playing on that.
But it's because Skeeledon had to use the purification beads right away. He wanted to stay healthy, so the speed buff invade is on the table. Is that Death Scythe going to kill Skeely? Absolutely not. It's more about keeping your health bar up to leave this option on the table, but I don't know if he's going to get it because PainDeViande's coming in to try and stop the invade, but Skeeledon is successful.
Nice dash use. Skeely making sure to find the last bit of damage on that speed buff, so the invade goes correctly. Wubbn taking a little bit of poke from Akillathehun, but not too big of a deal here. And Noble and Vigilant, we're off to the races. Starting off hot, PainDeViande brought down about half HP already. That's that early game damage on the Vigilant side.
For me, this matchup is going to be very important in the duo lane. Wowy versus DayToRemeber. Day, this guy who has kind of flirted with the Pro League for a long time and has had some really great highlights in both getting here and once he's made it into the SPL, but still has some games where he looks a little outmatched. How's he going to do against Wowy, who has proven to be pretty inconsistent himself during his time in the SPL? A lot of players in particular have a lot of respect for the way Wowy plays and says he has a lot of talent. It's very clear that he does. I mean, he's got so much potential in that dual lane, but there are games where Wowy just never seems to really make an impact. Which of these two hunters can make that late game impact is going to be a big determining factor in who wins this set.
Wowy's the player favorite. Anytime you spend a lot of time talking to players and you go, hey, outside of the top numero uno guys, who are you really, afraid of? And they go, I'm not afraid of anybody. You go, let me rephrase the question. Who's very talented? Almost every time that's how it goes. And they always mention Wowy. What is it about his play that impresses players so much?
His team fight is pretty solid, and his laning phase is pretty good as well. He's just all around. He's a solid hunter. He's not going to miss many autos. He's going to be in a decent position, and he's going to put himself in a position to win the lane and win the team fight afterwards. He's got an interesting god pool as well. I mean, you think of Wowy's Cupid. You think of the Jing Wei, even when a lot of other players weren't necessarily playing the Jing Wei. And he could also play the meta picks. I mean, Cernunnos was a really strong pick for Noble when Cern was that top tier hunter. Wowy was absolutely reckoned with it.
I always love the style of PainDeViande. Just everybody at Noble is saying, "What are you doing? Like, we're gonna kill you!" But he just walks up and tries to get the seal off the wall anyway. Level 5 for him, across the way only level 4 for Wubbn. But Noble also gets a little bit of personality from their hunter as well. Wowy plays sort of with his front foot forward, always ready to take that play, but not necessarily the most snap aggressive player in the world, always sort of looking around. And I think Noble has that in their gameplay as a team as well, where they don't always hard commit to their objectives. They'll look around and sneak things around, but at the end of the day, they generally want to lean on the aggressive side of things.
And that's where Skeeledon really comes in. He loves to play aggressive, and when he's at his best, he's able to play aggressive. And having a mid laner like moswal now who can follow up very quickly while still keeping himself in position is a big reason why Noble has ascended to this 6th seed spot. I mean, they had a lot of really good games, and they could have been even higher then the 6th seed. Just a couple games that just fell out of their reach that ended up putting him here.
Moswal has been a big application of the team. And here on the left side, however, Skeeledon looking to bring one down. Thanatos taking it to the sky. Mirage should outlast the dot. Sticking around to stay aggressive. Lands on Whalrus, looking for the heal. Doesn't have the scythe up just yet. Finally gets it off enough to just heal up. Tossed to the back line. Moswal, Moswal, Moswal. 2 kills. One of them's first blood. Noble, hot and loaded.
And Mirage just got too greedy there. He wanted MandoWarrior to bring Whalrus into execute range, which would have turned that whole fight in their favor, but now it's PainDeViande who gets his dash blocked off by Whalrus. He's going to be sacrificed, no problem. A quick 3 kills for Noble. Another speed buff invade goes their way, and the fire elementals on top of that. That's going to put Whalrus significantly ahead of MandoWarrior.
Yeah, Mirage absolutely needed the player in execute threshold. The Death Scythe wasn't up as soon as he landed. Otherwise, everything would have been different if Mirage gets that kill.
Everything. I mean, that's a huge... Not only does Whalrus fall, but it means that Mirage is able to stick in the fight because of the heal off the Thanatos passive or the heal off the Death Scythe if he doesn't even get the execute. There's plenty of health gain there for Mirage, but that's got to be better communication between him and MandoWarrior about cooldowns. Mando's either got to say, hey, I can't bring him down, or Mirage has got to let him know that, you know, I'm getting out. One or the other. It looked like there was a bit of miscommunication. Mando says, maybe I can bring him down. Mirage trusts and then kind of gets punished for it.
I think that's what it was. I think, you know, everybody knows what needs to happen there, and I think it's just Mirage sitting there. You hover, and then at the last second you got to snap away, and he just didn't get the option. Big trouble for MandoWarrior. Jumped on top as well. All Mirage can do is watch. MandoWarrior gets dove. Skeely with the last hit. 1 kill in total for the jungler on Noble.
And this is what you do to Artio. This is what the good teams do to Artio in particular, is that you get her behind early and then you punish her consistently over and over again, because while great from ahead, like every god in the game, Artio suffers more than most from being behind because everything she does is very interruptible, very telegraphed. And even that dash, it's not particularly quick. I mean, that was a dash that was caught by 2 players there between Whalrus and Skeeledon without much worry. This is a bad look for Vigilant at the start. If Skeeledon continues to be on the right-hand side, honestly, they might not even need Skeeledon on the right-hand side much longer, because as soon as Whalrus finishes off that Gladiator shield, that's going to give him some more cooldown reduction, some power, and some sustain in order to just try and find those solo kills on his own.
One thing I want to bring up before we get too far away from it, Wubbn in that team fight for First Blood looked fantastic. Great Xing positioning, anticipating the landing Thanatos and being able to grab 2 players right there. The positioning and the anticipation was really impressive to me.
And with Xing Ultimate, it is crucial in these team fights. I mean, it's one of the reasons why he was so highly coveted in the solo lane, is because coming in at the end of a team fight when beads are down and picking up multiple members and throwing them into the team fight again is incredibly powerful. And Wubbn, instead of doing that cleanup role as a solo laner usually would, instead is just waiting to use it onto MandoWarrior and PainDeViande, the guys who aren't going to have purification beads. The fact that Mirage was there without beads is just kind of a bonus.
Yeah, and he was cognizant of it. You know, knew that the beads were down, and it was impressive. So, you know, like I said, Wubbn bringing a new character to the battlefield today, definitely something that I think a lot of people would be happy to see if they're rocking Noble jerseys. A little bit of damage on the Gold Fury already, but Vigilant will show up. Half HP on the objective so far. PainDeViande shows his face. Full commit from Noble. Here it goes, and they're going to pick up the Gold Fury. The ensuing fight after the fact isn't really much of one. It's just PainDeViande getting cornered, and Skeeledon picks up another.
Mirage looking for it, though, with that hovering death. Can't decide on his target. It's going to be moswal, but he's the healthiest out of everybody, and immediately Mirage...
What are you doing? What are you doing? Mirage doesn't belong in that neighborhood. Luckily for him, Vigilant answers back. But that was one of the most curious decisions I have seen. Mirage, that you're just not that ahead. You don't have that much damage. Going for the full health mage with nobody in the wings, that was just, Ryan, a mistake.
I agree with you. Now, if Mirage, I can understand if Mirage maybe wants to land down, get beads, and die while holding on to his own. That's a window then that he can use to play aggressive on the respawn, trusting that his team's going to pick up at least one. But overall, why not go for the isolated Nemesis on the left-hand side? You'll probably get those beads anyways, and then you can retreat and not worry about it because you know Skeeledon's ultimate is down. Definitely not the right play there from Mirage.
We didn't even see the retreat. He landed through the Death Scythe and then continued to fight. if Mirage lands on Mozzie, throws the Scythe, and then turns and runs, bringing the mage to half HP and is out, and dies trying to escape, I still call him out, but I see the mentality there. He thought his cleave death toll was going to heal him?
No, I think he knew he was dead, and he was trying to get as much damage off as he could before he fell, and that's a lot of times your damage dealer's job is to understand that they're going to die and just try and take as many people with you as you could, but trading jungler for support at that stage, not the play.
Not a bad look there for Mirage. Able to just find a slow onto Wubbn and big chunk as Thanatos does percent base damage, and Wubbn is looking for a lot of HP. Look at that Swiftwing build. Right now, MandoWarrior caught out in the jungle. Here's a little bit of help from his friends. PainDeViande and Akillathehun! Hero to half shell, taking down Wubbn.
Whalrus, no ultimate. He used it aggressively to go in onto Akillathehun, and now Mirage has an execute target, and he'll put the first one on the board. That fight from Noble is not the one they wanted to take.
No.
That is a good ultimate onto Mirage from Wubbn if there was anyone from Noble in the area code, because remember, Mirage's beads were down. So he sees a Thanatos next to him in the mid lane and says, hey, I get to pick him up and toss him. Problem is, there's no one around. So instead, he throws him away, realizes his mistake, but then he jumps into MandoWarrior, who is still, yeah, he's a little bit behind, but he's still a level 10 Guardian who can mess you up with some CC, with some setup for the rest of his squad. That was a really poor decision there by Noble. And then Whalrus assumes that they're going to engage with Skeeledon and moswal, but Skeeledon was already low. Moswal was pretty far away in the mid lane, and the rest of Noble decides they're giving up that fight. If Whalrus escapes up and over the wall, no big deal. But to lose two members there is not a good look.
Yeah, not a good look at all. Mirage able to grab a kill as well. Certainly going to help out the Thanatos there. Still 3-6, however. Vigilant trying to fight their way out of a hole, already down about 3,000 to 4,000 gold early on in this one. Mirage lucky enough to pick up his own speed, as Skeeledon and Noble have had a beat on the enemy jungle the entire time. MandoWarrior and his new boots able to escape here, pointing that out because he buys boots number 2.
And that's with that rush for the Breastplate of Valor. Just gives you a lot of physical protection and some more safety in this lane up against Whalrus. I like the idea from Skeeledon, though, to keep trying to put pressure onto the speed buff of Mirage, and moswal just a little bit off the mark there with that stun. Thought he was going to head for PainDeViande being a little bit lower and closer to moswal, but decided to go for the mage instead.
Mirage again, a little bit of trouble. Does heal up a little bit, however. Big Bear going for the big kill. Mirage goes up. Skeely in trouble. Does he have the dash? One, and he has to turn around. Mirage goes for safety.
Mirage just wasn't sure on that dash cooldown, so you can't blame him for being a little bit hesitant there in that ultimate. Mirage ends up trading out his ult for the ult of Skeeledon, who really could have made use of that extra movement speed from the Divine Retribution.
Portal team at the target here for the guys on Noble. Here's a little bit of help from Wubbn. Again, this time those PainDeViande directly at his team while he's able to take down the elephant. Wowy in a lot of trouble, very low. Escape barely. Moswal taken out. MandoWarrior puts number 4 up for Team Vigilant, likely to fall here. Bear charge, and there he goes.
That ultimate from PainDeViande almost ended up killing Wowy because MandoWarrior stunned him right on the wall there of the Dharmic Pillars. Forced out the Aegis from Wowy and somehow was able to get out before the Artio could even hit him with a basic attack. He was that low. I mean, we're talking 40, 50 health maximum for Wowy. So losing 1 for 1 there, you get mid laner for the solo lane, and putting moswal at least on the bench for a little bit is beneficial here for Vigilant because he's been off to a great start. That's his first death, and he was worth plenty of gold. So MandoWarrior trading himself out for that mid lane mage ends up favoring Vigilant.
And it's about time. Vigilant need to start making some of those plays. Still down that 3,000 gold. They need to make those plays in succession, Ryan, in order to find themselves on the top side.
But at the beginning of that, remember, PainDeViande got killed because of Wubbn's pickup and toss right into the teeth of Noble. And that's, again, good recognition from Wubbn that that's the target. Anytime you can see PainDeViande around your squad and feel comfortable enough that you've got the burst damage to bring them down, that's the exact play you got to make.
And that's where I was getting at when I was, I think my my choice of words or choice of comparison was not specific. Let's talk about Wowy with his first foot forward. That's kind of the play I'm talking about, where they kind of just, Noble takes things as they come to them, and they deal with objectives and situations one by one by one, and PainDeViande is just right in front of him. You're going to see Wubbn make that play a lot on this character. Mirage whiffs another Death Scythe. MandoWarrior caught out in the mid lane, half HP.
Really nice damage there from moswal, who's gone for a very quick penetration option. I love this third item, Obsidian Shard. So often we see the Spear of Desolation, but it's so much more expensive and does give you some more power, but you get less penetration overall. It's 20 flat pen instead of the 33% percentage pen that the Obsidian Shard gives you, and that really chunked through MandoWarrior.
Look at that play from Skeeledon. Uses the ultimate over the wall to DayToRemeber as a deterrent. Just go away. At the wall, in the sky, it's Mirage. Tosses over the top. Wowy escapes north side. Whalrus in trouble. Whalrus is gone. DayToRemeber with a kill. That's number 2 for the Hunter. And that's going to be enough to chase Noble off of the objective. Nice plays by Vigilant. That is exactly what we're talking about. Need to make these successful plays in successive motion.
That's I like the idea from Skeeledon, but if there's going to be 5 people there, using your Nemesis ultimate on a guy who isn't going to be in that fight right away, or even you're not going to be dealing extra damage to, not the right decision overall. Skeeledon throws that ultimate because he thinks that Noble's going to full commit to that Gold Fury and then get out while they have the chance. That's just a deterrent for DayToRemeber to stay away for the moment. But if that's a whole team fight that's going to break out, Skilly's got to use that on a better target.
Sure. I initially liked it because I too thought Noble was going to full commit. If the team does choose to stick to it, I think that's a strong ultimate. Like you said, instead they decide to peel. And unfortunately, Skeeledon winds up with less tools in his bag than he thought, so Vigilant are able to win the fight by the Gold Fury.
And Skilly now hitting level 13. He's picked up a Blink in that second relic slot. I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical of Blink Nemesis at first, but I've come to really think that it is a potent second relic for Nemesis. Just gives her so much more initiation into the back line, and what mage is going to be able to get away from a Nemesis that blinks on top of them, drops the ult, and then double dashes to catch your escape? Your beads aren't going to matter. You're not going to be able to get away. I think that Blink Nemesis can be really potent. It also, Nemesis so often puts people to very low HP and then just can't quite get that last finishing blow. It ends up pushing them out of the fight, which is relevant, but can't quite get the last shot. That Blink allows you to close that gap.
Portal Demon, Nobles, 6 ways to Sunday. 17 on the clock, and after the Portal Demon, that's going to put Noble up even more than they were previously, sporting about a 3,000 gold lead and pushing them closer. 2,600 about now, pushing them closer to that 3,000. 8-5, and Noble tight one here, but Noble certainly have the lead.
I like that call from Noble, and Vigilant just not really thinking about the potential for the Portal Demon right there, because if you see the mid laner and you see the Hunter, you don't really think about how much damage something like a Nemesis is necessarily going to do. If it's Mercury or even Aokwang, those gods that can burn objectives very quickly out of the jungle, then yeah, you're always thinking about when the Portal Demon could be the call for the opposition, even without those main damage dealers. But that's a really heads-up call from Noble to catch him off guard.
Backside flank coming from Skeeledon. Big slow from the ultimate and the slice and dice. But that's going to be enough. DayToRemeber walks away no problem, and Noble are able to look at their jungle one more time.
Didn't even have to use a sprint there. That's a pretty big win for Vigilant to get out that Nemesis ultimate from Skeeledon. Yes, DayToRemeber has to back, but so did Wubbn. He got pushed very low very quickly.
Here in the mid lane, Mirage uses the beads. One more time, Gold Fury, half HP. Vigilant now filtering in, just PainDeViande, Mirage in the sky. That could be a trade, but he waits too long. Now he's looking for the execute, won't find
Big
one.
stun.
Big targets, and now gonna find the silence, but that's about it.
Skeeledon gonna help clean that one up. It's actually Whalrus who gets credit, but here comes MandoWarrior looking to chase down the Osiris, who's already used all of his skills. Whalrus needs to try and get away, but will not be able to do so as Wowy actually finds one, and Skeely's gonna get another one.
Wubbn very low on the chase, on the aggression. Akillathehun can just turn around and shoot him in the face, but he opts not to. He has to run out himself. MandoWarrior surrounded, dashed on stun, and moswal puts a dozen. Noble, fantastic, brilliant execution. It's a 4-for-1.
Man, where was the follow-up off of Mirage's stun? I mean, you stunned 3 or 4 with Hovering Death. You best be making it count, because now you're in the middle of everybody and don't have an escape option like someone like a Thor or Ratatosker would with a dunk down initiation like that. That's a great play from Mirage to find multiple people, but the rest of Vigilant just wasn't able to follow up. Akillathehun's ultimate, I don't know if he was close enough or available with it. Either way, what looked like it could have been a good initiation for Vigilant ends up going wrong because MandoWarrior is so busy trying to find Whalrus. Wubbn, if you turn to page 343 of your dictionary, you can find lazy back. That's what that was.
You can't do that. You just can't do that. F in the chat. That is, ladies and gentlemen, this is a 3-game series as a second chance for the lower end teams to make it to Super Regionals, the qualifying LAN tournament to get you to the World Championships. You don't back there. Here.
Correct. Can't lazy back. It's bad. Don't do it. Also, buy wards. We're doing like beginner tips.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm looking for like ward count on the screen.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Are you making a point about
No.
lack of vision?
Beginner tips.
All right. I'm trying to think of the ones that come up on the load screen now. Press X to Jason or whatever it is. You know.
To what?
Jason. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
It'll.
Yeah.
I'll explain it when you're older.
Thank you.
But Vigilant putting up a fight here, and these are the games that I like to watch. The team is down, but they are absolutely in striking distance. 5K is not something I'm crying about, and PainDeViande has... I feel like this team fights from behind more often than they fight from ahead, Team Vigilant.
Yeah, and they really do well there. And there's something to be said for a team that knows how to fight from behind. And look, they don't want to do it all the time, but if you find yourself in that position, you got to learn how to succeed. And Vigilant has certainly done that.
That's why Mirage was the perfect choice for this team. He's never been on a winning squad.
And but he's still sitting pretty close in levels, I suppose. He's got that hi-rez lament. Not a lot of penetration quite yet in the build for Mirage, but a little bit of CDR with the hi-rez, the little bit of pen from the Heartseeker. This is more about trying to weave auto attacks in, and you can do that very well with Thanatos. I mean, you land down with the ultimate, auto, 1, auto, 2, auto, and just about anybody's going to be dead at that point.
Yeah, actually, can we take a look at Mirage? I'm curious to see how he's leveling his abilities. Death Scythe is kind of the one you want to go to first, but after that, it's a choice between Scent of Death or Soul Reap, Scent of Death being number 2. And with that Jotun's Wrath, once he hits his Scent of Death, he's maxed out. There it is. He has max penetration at the moment, so that's sort of the mentality behind the lack of pen. You'll probably still see him by a Titan's Bane later on, to just assist in everything else. But
well, it's because you hit a flat pen cap, not a percent pen cap, so that Titan's Bane's still going to help out. Somebody's going to help out MandoWarrior because he's getting spun around and Wubbn's going to get credit, but that was a team effort from Noble.
How much did they use, though?
3 ults.
That's a big deal. They still have to deal with 4 players if they want to take out this Portal Demon. PainDeViande right here, front and center. Skeeledon half HP. Wubbn half HP. Vigilant takes it away. All about the Dharmic Pillars. PainDeViande controlling the situation.
Mirage going to find the execute on a Whalrus as well. Big damage, though, from Wowy. Nice silence there onto him, and the Tycho drums just not good enough from Akillathehun, but a nice play from PainDeViande. It was the first tick of the Dharmic Pillars being laid down that stole away that Portal Demon.
It is a perfect example of Pain or whoever shot calls for Vigilant. I think we just assume it's Pain at this point. Moving the pieces around in a grand strategy type of way. DayToRemeber was waiting at the tower while they're team fighting. The squad is team fighting, and Day's sitting there waiting to take out the tower. And it's important because if he team fights, they don't get that tier 1 tower. That window of opportunity was so incredibly small, very impressive. About as small as Wubbn's life bar is right now. MandoWarrior pops a sprint and pops Wubbn as well. 3, 5, and 4 for Team Vigilant.
That is a
solo.
bad time to get picked off there by Wubbn. Now this Gold Fury is going to go down and no chance for Noble to come in and contest it. And what was a big Noble lead is now a very small one. Vigilant only down about 2,000 gold, even less than that in experience, less than 1,500 in EXP, and that is a huge swing in their favor. A lot of it goes down to PainDeViande stealing away the Portal Demon and allowing the rest of the team to kind of push forward and get some momentum there. But again, it's Wubbn getting picked in mid. It's the overcommit onto MandoWarrior.
3 ultimates.
Yeah, and 3 of your biggest ones, at least 2 of your biggest ones, certainly from Skeeledon and moswal.
Yeah.
I think that you either need to use one or the other. I prefer to use Skeeledon's ultimate in that sense because it's a little bit, it's more single target and it more guarantees the pick for you.
Moswal is also the confirmation on the
Portal Demon. Correct.
Yeah, so a big overcommit. And Vigilant, one more time up in the sky, goes to Thanatos. Execute City! Skeeledon, the only resident. Over the wall goes Whalrus. He's stuck in the box. Gonna deal out the thorns, and there's a
Nice
big
ult.
ultimate from moswal. Wubbn still in trouble. Akillathehun, number 11 for Vigilant. Wubbn trying to throw. Big PainDeViande standing in the up-down, and he'll get taken out by Wowy.
Wowy has to use the ultimate though, and now he's a little bit more exposed. Doesn't have the Aegis either, only purification beads, but everyone else from Noble's able to escape. Man, that lifesteal from DayToRemeber is just insane. I mean, Devourer's Gauntlet, Aussie, and that spring season, he was brought down to 10% HP from that final judgment. Next time I looked at his health bar, it was completely full.
Moswal, really impactful ultimate in that team fight as well. Just in traffic, just smashes multiple players with it. I love how a lot of he's going oh wow, Wubbn taking a lot of damage from Day right now. That's those chin size, and Wubbn with the Xing chin build. But I love the build from Moswal. It is as basic and classic as it gets, and sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. It does everything you want. Power, penetration, and it is working towards some CDR with what that Chronos Pendant is going to be.
Third slot
fifth
pen,
item slot.
Third slot pen, fourth slot Tahuti. This is like, your job is to just shoot people, and this is the shoot people build. You know, we see a lot of sort of innovation come out. Listen, these numbers have worked. I like this build coming out when you are a dedicated damage mage.
Love it. This is, if I can pick 4 items to complete and only take 1 death and get it pretty soon, catch me with Book of Thoth, Boots, Obsidian Shard, and Rod of Tahuti. The 5th and 6th items, yeah, I could use them, but I don't need them because I've already got everything I need with my first 4. After Chronos Pendant, he's going to have plenty of CDR, basically giving himself 30%. Then probably should be something like a Spear of Desolation in that last slot. If he wants some protection, he can go for a Spirit's Robe or a Mantle of Discord. Either of those would work well. This just covers all the bases that Moswal needs, and player damage certainly speaks for itself. 26,000. There's no one even 10,000 close to him.
Yeah, that's insane. Big numbers for the mid lane. However, is it enough? Noble still has this 3-ish thousand gold lead that they've had seemingly since minute 1. Literally since about minute 6. But Team Vigilant here, like we said, this is a squad that's adept at fighting at a deficit. And they're certainly able to do so. We've seen what they've been able to do. What is it? How does Vigilant succeed so much from behind?
They just don't take bad fights. They allow Noble or whoever they're playing against to put themselves in a spot where the door is open for a fight to go Vigilant's way.
So the shot calling, essentially.
The shot calling, the positioning, the decision making overall, yeah, that's what ends up being most key for this team and allowing them, as well as that these are mechanically skilled players. I mean, across the board, these are guys who can get the job done just by pressing the buttons. Yeah,
we've certainly seen these guys absolutely bring it and wind up on the highlight reels. And again, you know, a little bit of a fight coming. No, not quite just yet. That's another one of Pain's skills. We always talk about his shot calling and leadership and all that. So he's a great talent scout. I mean, he finds these guys that people don't think about twice. I mean, Portal Demon going to go down nice and quick. Big snap play coming out from Vigilant. But I mean, we've seen Turtle Man play around, but figuring out how it's going to work, that's where PainDeViande shines.
And it's not even in his initial role. He used to be an ADC, and just to pick him up and put him in mid and have him succeed, that's it's impressive stuff from Pain, but from also the guys who he picks up. I mean, you got to give them some credit as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
They always seem to perform pretty well together.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Like I said, you can say that we, you know, make up this storyline once, twice, but I think this is 3rd separate time bringing 4 people up and trying to make a team out of it. So PainDeViande, absolutely hats off to him. Down about 2,000 gold with the rest of his crew here. Gold Fury seems to be the next choice here, Ryan. 29 minutes on the clock. Noble, full commit, or look for the fight?
I think that you try and take the fight here, at least a little bit. Though, if Vigilant back off enough, we've seen Moswal be willing to use that final judgment to secure the Gold Fury, but you can't afford to lose a fight at 29 minutes just for the Gold Fury. You need to be able to at least go even with the gold for it to be worth it for you.
Well, Noble have the positioning, and they've got damage, so the Gold Fury already down about half HP. Vigilant have to get in there very quickly. They're just not showing up. MandoWarrior finally just bears down and pushes players off. Wowy pushes MandoWarrior all the way to the fountain. Mirage finds the counter kill on top of Whalrus, a big tanky target, exactly the way that
Nice
execute
stun.
needs to be needed. But PainDeViande off the mark with the dash, gets punished by Skeeledon.
Skilly finds that kill. DayToRemeber can't really box him right now because he's got that Aussie proc. Plenty of extra lifesteal for him, and Mirage still has his blink, but remember, he's on a ward. He just walked over it.
And he makes a lot of noise. If he turns around and fight, doesn't. Instead, he just gets pushed out. Gold Fury, half life bar. And Akillathehun's going to be able to push players off for the moment. Still half in the gold, and it picked up one more time. There's the disc coming out from the Thanatos. Not going to be enough to kill anybody. And DayToRemeber has to retreat very quickly. Players getting low on the side of Noble.
Man, that Raijin bounce. So
Oh, the
there's
blink!
the blink in. It's Soul Reap as well, and Skeeledon is going to fall to Mirage.
Oh, the blink coming out of nowhere. Mirage going to look for number 2 on top of Wubbn. No jump, no chance. 2 kills for the jungler. 1 for the hunter off screen. The Gold Fury going the way of Vigilant. And one more time. Up, down, your dash is gone. Mirage rolling trips. Number 16 for Vigilant. And they take the lead.
Man, Noble just cannot make a call there if they want to just commit and try and bait Mirage in. If they're going to take some more poke from Akillathehun, who was doing a great job of just spreading that team fight throughout the damage throughout the team of Noble, just juggling around that Gold Fury, and they end up not only taking the fight afterwards, but the Gold Fury itself.
The Fire Giant is the call. This is a gutsy one, Ryan. I know they put a lot of players down. I guess it's not as gutsy as you thought.
It's only Whalrus here, and he's going to be forced out by Mirage and MandoWarrior. In fact, he's going to have to use the ultimate, and they might be able to discontinue this chase.
Oh, it's easy. I call it gutsy because I didn't think they had enough players alive to actually go for the Fire Giant. But DayToRemeber by himself, he's level 20, fully built hunter. No problemo, he says. Vigilant, lead change, up by about 1,500. And they take the Fire Giant as well. 31:30 on the clock. And well, we told you what this team's good at.
Man, I'll tell you what, that was such a good fight from Noble, too, around that Gold Fury. I mean, MandoWarrior gets locked down, knocked up, gets hit by the pancake flip from the Xing Chen, immediately into Skeeledon's ultimate, immediately into another knockup from Wowy, and moswal just crushes him with the final judgment. Great start to the team fight. You didn't use too much. Then PainDeViande overextends a little bit, and moswal punishes him as well. Good continues to be in Noble's favor, but then that 5v3 instance where Noble's just a little bit, or 5v4 I should say, because Whalrus ended up falling, and that's a huge deal because no one from Noble was able to zone away Vigilant, and everyone was so low that Noble either has to back and try and come back and do that Gold Fury, or maybe even the Portal Demon, or they have to just try and commit to burning down the gold and forcing Noble, or forcing Vigilant to commit to the defense of it. Instead, it was Akillathehun just throwing out Raijus. It was Mirage just kind of messing around with them. DayToRemeber throwing out some abilities. It was just a constant poke from all of Vigilant until Skeeledon was down to 5% HP, and Mirage just hits Blink in 3 and gets a big heal from it, and all of a sudden, it's Noble who's got to retreat.
That's really what it was for me. I call it fire swimming, where you sort of jump in the fire and dish out some damage and come out and go, ooh, that was hot, right? And that's what you saw, this continuous poke down for Noble. And I mean, it's not just a Thanatos thing. Any assassin with a blink in that scenario is going, I can one-shot him, I'll waterfall onto the second guy, and then who knows what happens. And that was just Mirage. Just the surprise, also the surprise timing. Mirage did a very good job of not showing his hand and being able to take that fight while getting the element of surprise. Vigilant pushing on the tier 2 tower. Noble able to play defense. Wubbn catches nobody with the ultimate. PainDeViande pushes forward. There's the ring. There's the ultimate out of Mirage as well. Wowy's the first one to get a kill. MandoWarrior falls down. moswal fires out. Wubbn in trouble. Mirage battling it out. Takes down the support. It's a 1-for-1 as the tier 2 tower falls.
That ends up being okay so far for Noble, but they need to get in position to defend this tier 2 if they want to keep it being in their favor. Losing a tier 2 at this stage, not the end of the world. I mean, the gold right now is still relevant, but it's not some massive lead that they won't be able to come back from. As long as they defend this tier 2 in mid, it's more about keeping as many Phoenixes up and unexposed as possible.
Right now, the Portal Demon looks like it's going to be a target. Skeeledon's here as well. Full build on him, 4 stacks on the Urchin, so he's ready to fight. Mirage, full build on him as well, however. will certainly bring the pain to Skeeledon if he desires. Noble likely going to get this Portal Demon unless something crazy happens, and nothing crazy happens.
Look at that damage, though, from Akillathehun, and now it's going to be Mirage blinking forward, just trying to close the gap in range for that execute, but instead he's going to find the double stun on a Skeely and Whalrus, but that Mantle of Discord ends up helping him out.
And there's a help from Skeeledon. Meanwhile, Wobbin in the backline. Where did he come from? DayToRemeber gets 2. And it's a 2-for-1. Mirage trades his life out for Skeely and Wubbn. Mirage probably not happy about that, but his team is. They'll take that.
Ends up being okay. That portal is where Wubbn came from, and respawned, went right through the portal, and was there to affect the fight. And that ends up being a good idea, but he just got destroyed so quickly. I don't know what did all that damage to him so fast, but someone crushed Wubbn, and it's really Akillathehun's damage has been really, really crazy so far this game. He's the one who put Wowy down to 5% off of pulling the portal demon. I mean, if you take all 3 shots of Percussive Storm, it's technically 4 because that third shot of it is a double projectile. You take all 4 of those, you're going to be hurting. And Wowy almost died because of it.
Well, you've got big damage out of Akillathehun, sure, but also, I mean, there's something to be said. Thanatos shreds tanks, and no execute used there, but between having max penetration right away, the way that all of your abilities were going to work in and out of the Hydra's Lament, you don't even need the execute in certain scenarios, so that was a big deal. Mirage puts himself way up front, though, so he gets value out of the Mantle of Discord. But I think this is where Thanatos players start to run into trouble once they're able to amass a ton of powerful offensive successes. And then the end game comes and everybody just winds up evening out. And Thanatos player, you have to reel yourself back in, something I'm not sure Mirage is capable of.
Well, he's got both robes, the Mantle of Discord and the Spirit's robes, so that gives him plenty of extra tankiness. I mean, he's got 150 of both prots, basically, so he's pretty tanky right now and can afford to be in the thick of things, whereas Skeeledon has gone for a tanky build as well with the High of the Urchin, and then the late game, the Guardian Mail, really trying to shut down the damage from DayToRemeber. I don't know how I feel about this Executioner, though. I mean, the chance that Skeeledon gets 3 autos off on 1 target in a team fight is pretty slim in my mind. I really do prefer the Cuvo Fred style of build where you go for the Hasten Katana and the Stone Cutting Sword,
right,
so that at least when you are hitting, if you do get the chance to hit multiple autos, which is increased because of the Hasten Katana, that gives you the opportunity to steal away their protections.
PainDeViande getting isolated here, brought from 100 down to about 10, might be able to get out of his team, responds in time, and they just don't have it. Number 20, as Wowy picks up his 5th personal kill here. Wowy having a good game. Noble still behind the 8 ball, but that is exactly what they need with the Fire Giant up. This might turn things around.
Just like Wubbn can't afford to get caught, and then that Gold Fury goes down, Pain cannot afford to get caught. Now it's going to be the Fire Giant pull as MandoWarrior gets knocked up. His Thorns are already down, and Wowy's looking for him, but Whalrus is already in execute range, but Mirage chose Skeeledon instead.
And he gets 2 as he comes back to the team. moswal able to punch him in the butt, but he's already done the damage. 2 players down to the hand of the Thanatos, 11 kills. That's just silly. Akillathehun still in the neighborhood. I don't think anybody has a beat on him. Wubbn turns around and finds him. The damage from the mage is real.
Wowy with the preemptive Aegis trying to immune that damage. DayToRemeber gonna get hit not only by the final judgment, but it secures the Fire Giant at the same time. That's why Noble was so patient with that Fire Giant pull, waiting for that book of that Thoth ultimate to come back up. And with the Chronos Pendant and the Spear of Desolation, it doesn't take long.
Is there any chance the Raijin can outdo the Thoth there?
I think that Akillathehun's best potential play, if he wants to really try and make one, is to try and kill either Wowy or moswal with his damage by using 2-1 and jumping on him, but everyone had all their relics, basically. Wowy didn't have beads, but Akilla didn't have his ultimate, so that's not really too impactful, and that's why Wowy had to use the Panic Aegis, because he knows how much damage Akillathehun can do there. He can try and out-secure it with a 2-1, but that's very, very unlikely. That requires moswal to mess up, and he just hasn't so far this game on the objective secure.
Vigilant, yeesh. Bad play by PainDeViande. No reason really to be where he was. Gets caught out, and that in turn gives the Fire Giant over to the opposition. Lead change, not just yet. Vigilant still have control of the gold, but we are reaching a point. Gold is still relevant looking at the, well, just Wubbn's build, actually. But for illustrative purposes, Noble have a little bit of catching up to do. With the Fire Giant, all things even. And Noble going to look to push, looks like the left side of the map.
And in this, there's a lot of towers still up, though, for Noble, so they've got to take a lot of the time off this Fire Giant just by getting the structures off the map. That's the advantage that Vigilant have in this game, is that they already have an exposed path towards a Phoenix, whereas Noble had got rid of the only Tier 1 tower remaining, but all 3 lanes still having their Tier 2s.
Skeeledon biding his time, looking for the right spot. Not looking for the flank like most of the assassins do. Still hanging out in the jungle, but just looking to surprise players. Not exactly come around the back end. Like you might see a lot of these assassins line up in the jungle for.
Skeely wants someone to initiate so that he can drop the ultimate on top of them. He wants Vigilant to be the first ones in, and he wants to be where they're going to be, which is in front of his backline, so that he can drop the ultimate and blow them up very quickly. His ultimate doesn't get as much value for the team if he goes around the backside to try and find a pick. Instead, he wants MandoWarrior or PainDeViande to dash in or jump in so that the rest of the team can blow him up quickly.
Yeah, very different type of character than some of the true assassins that we really see. You know, it's interesting. I'd call Nemesis a true assassin, but just in a very different way than, say, a Camazotz or an Ansha.
She could fill a different role.
Exactly.
But she could also fill the traditional role. It's what makes her so potent. You can go for a one-shot style of build. You could build crit on her. You just blink in, nem-ult someone, and just crit them down in 2 shots. Certainly an option. You can build full power and penetration, not worry about the auto attacks, and just use Slice and Dice as your main damage dealer along with Divine Retribution. That can work out nicely. There are very few characters, not just assassins, but characters in Smite that have as many viable build paths as Nemesis does, and you can kind of tweak it to fit your preferred playstyle.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun to watch her as well, the way she can set up other players or set up for herself and just sort of run amok throughout the enemy lines. Skeeledon going to lead the charge here on the undefended Tier 2 tower. Got to watch out. Vigilant going to collapse on these guys. Quickly, MandoWarrior changes his mind and opts for the safe run towards the Tier 1 tower. Ali Oxen free. Vigilant safe underneath this tower for now. The only remaining Vigilant structure is not a Firebird.
I really like this Magi's Blessing for MandoWarrior. Not a lot of easy-to-hit long-range CC. Only one being moswal's Evade and Punish. But if you're using that single-target stun to pull off a Magi's Blessing, it's a pretty decent cooldown that moswal's not going to get advantage of anytime soon.
Warming up the ultimate. Moswal just tested the players. Easy Tier 2 tower.
Skeely actually throws down the ultimate on DayToRemeber there just to make sure that Vigilant wasn't going to engage, and he's got enough CDR in that build that it's going to be up for that Fire Giant pull. That's why it's not as big of a deal as it may seem. He's got 20% from the Jotun's Wrath, and Divine Retribution not on a particularly long cooldown anyways.
Gold Fury going to go to Noble as well, continuing their push towards the lead. 42 on the clock. Long game here. Both teams with Blackjack and Noble up about 4,000 gold. Everybody full build here, so really just illustrating how Noble has been able to clean the board up. No towers, no objectives, no nothing. Vigilant has to fight back into this one. Fire Giant, all things even here on the fight for the big guy.
And that's why getting all these Tier 2 towers is so important for Noble, because now they've got an easy path towards the Titan should they win a close team fight where they only bring down a couple members. They don't have to take as much time to try and end the game. Vigilant would either have to walk all the way over to the left side to go straight for an exposed Phoenix, or take down these towers in mid and right in order to bring down the Titan very quickly. So that's an advantage for Noble here in this game.
Noble here with the offensive posture. Fire Giant behind them, so they're able to go ahead and turn on it should they want. Vigilant being pushed further and further back into their own jungle. Whalrus and Wubbn obviously playing the front line. Whalrus is going to go wake up the Fire Giant. And it's going to be moswal and Wowie's job to bring it down. Already down about half HP. Mirage here on the right side, going to avoid Wubbn. There's help from PainDeViande. He's being brought down low. Quarter HP, but he heals up. Up in the sky goes Mirage, looking for a target. Finds one, but not a kill. Skeeledon, on the other hand, gets a kill on MandoWarrior. Wubbn chased out. It's a 5-on-4.
Really good job there by Noble. Even though Wubbn's ultimate doesn't hit, it does the exact same thing. It puts PainDeViande in the thick of Noble and Skeeledon. Again, this has been the combo every single time. Nemesis ultimate into Final Judgment. It also clipped MandoWarrior, and that's why he was so low and couldn't really do his job of getting into the backline and making life difficult for Wowy, who was able to not only hold on to his ultimate, but both relics in that team fight. In fact, both jungles and hunters on both sides still have everything up as far as their relics are.
DayToRemeber is doing a fine job as far as playing a hunter, but I haven't seen his ultimate have the impact that I think we need it to.
That's a team fighting ultimate, but the Fire Giant down to about 50% already. Wubbn can't really frontline too effectively, but Skeeledon's going in, trying to knock down Mirage, but PainDeViande, he's back and has his ultimate up.
And Mirage has his ultimate as well. Execute target on the left side, gonna have the time, and Wubbn turned around, walked into it. Mirage gets a kill, so does the mid laner. Wowy turns around and takes down Mirage, but it's a 2 for 2. Wubbn walked into it. I don't think there was a way for him to tell that he was walking into it, but by golly, oh man. Mirage getting a little lucky there, taking out the support.
I think Wubbn was trying to juke it with the leap, with the third ability, but just was a little bit too slow on the reaction time. And Mirage is able to find it. And now with the small power play here, Team Vigilant, they've got moswal without any relics, so they know that they can play aggressive onto him.
moswal taking some damage from the Fire Giant himself. PainDeViande here.
He's got his ult though.
Exactly. Pain has to zone out this mage. Shooting it, gonna do. Oh, moswal. Playing it careful, shoots it too early. This time, it goes to Noble. moswal gets it through the wall, ultimate or nah. It's going to Noble.
But MandoWarrior and DayToRemeber might be able to cut him off. They went the long way around. Whalrus, no ultimate here, but too low is the rest of Vigilant. moswal doing so much for this squad, steals away the Fire Giant, and then makes sure that PainDeViande can't continue the chase.
That just can't happen. That just can't happen, aggro.
What secure do they have over it? I mean, Raijin does a lot of damage, but a lot of it is over time. I mean, it's Raiju. It's the percussive storm.
No, I know. You go kill moswal or don't start the Fire Giant. 4 on 3 is tasty, but they have the Thoth guy, man.
They need to be patient. Vigilant needs to be patient there and wait for MandoWarrior to arrive so that he can be the one to chase down moswal. In that situation, no one who was in that fight could chase down moswal because he's got the long-range dash. No one can really stick to him. If Vigilant play that patient, wait it out, wait until MandoWarrior comes, then you can say, hey, solo laner, go make sure that he's not going to steal this. We will be doing Fire Giant in the meantime. Yeah. That's a much better opportunity. Instead, Vigilant just end up being a little bit too impatient and throw it away in a coin flip.
Yeah, I can't, like I said, just can't do that, unfortunately. You know, Mirage has everybody was looking towards this roster change as questionable at best. Grave had put in time and looked relatively strong, and Mirage has a checkered history as far as his SPL performances have been concerned. But this game, he's doing it all. The max CDR allowing his ultimate to come up almost 2 times in the same team fight. Absolutely important. Setting his team up for what, you know, should have been a good situation. We know how it went, but Mirage has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
He really has been. I mean, anytime you get a dozen kills, you're doing something right, but it isn't just cleaning up executes. He's second on his team in player damage, 3rd overall with 30,000. He's also done a good job of frontlining with these 2 tank items towards the end of his build. He's had a solid game thus far.
Yeah, really exciting to watch his aggressive playstyle as well, if I do say so myself. PainDeViande getting poked out a little bit, but not too concerned. Skeeledon wrapping around the backside, coming from mid lane. And a little bit of clear as Noble looked to push down the left side of Phoenix. Whalrus walking in first, getting some poke on a DayToRemeber. Already, Phoenix going down relatively quick. PainDeViande trying to tank out the basics, and he will do so, although they bring him relatively low. Ultimate from Akillathehun.
That was in response to Skeeledon's ultimate, but Skeeledon's ult didn't really get a whole lot of value there. So
neither did Akilla's, so fair. It's a 1-for-1 trade. There's an ultimate. moswal. DayToRemeber, and remember we will. In pieces. Mirage looking for a target, can't find one, goes defensive. And the left side Phoenix is history.
Now, Wowy had to use both relics because of the threat of the hovering death, but man, what another play by moswal. If you didn't think that this guy was the real deal in the SPL among mid laners, you just got to watch this game back because he has done so much for this Noble squad. His Thoth has been unbelievable since he got picked up by Noble. I can't believe that he's still getting to play it as often as he does.
Well, moswal is going to take it every time he gets a chance, I think. He's going to start the push here as well. 50,000 player damage after that last exchange. Ooh. Mirage starts this one, taking out Skeeledon, however. He's on the chase as Wubbn runs away. And MandoWarrior going to protect his jungler. But again, the mid lane Phoenix goes down. And 2 birds. Noble will retreat Not looking for the third one. Fire Giant falling off in a matter of moments.
Skeeledon just a little bit too aggressive underneath that Phoenix. Remember, he doesn't have any Aegis. He just went for Blink and the Purification Beads. And there he threw the ultimate onto Mirage, but you're not stealing away a lot of protections with that choice. I think that if he's looking to dissuade an engagement, I'd rather see him use that Divine Retribution onto someone like the Artio or the Ganesha to steal away more protections and make it so that they are less incentivized to jump into the thick of things because they know they might die sooner.
Yeah, I think that's pretty valid. Skeeledon needs to find better targets. That time around, you know, I had asked about DayToRemeber's ultimate. He did find one player with the polymorph that time around, but still, that is a very big, impactful ultimate that I don't think we're getting enough of in this game.
Well, it's hard to get value out of it when you get one shot by Thoth ult just to start it off. That was the real difference maker for Noble, and he's just got to be more aware and be a little bit quicker on the trigger for the Aegis. That's one of the things that sets apart really, really good SPL players from the great ones. Relic usage, it's absolutely critical.
Well, we're in a war of attrition here, a battle of wits. 50 minutes on the clock, and 24 on the kills. That's a Jack Bauer joke somewhere. You got one?
I never watched that show.
Me neither, actually.
It didn't really interest me very much.
I just like, you know, on top of things.
Okay.
Noble need to figure things out here. Vigilant need to figure things out here. Neither team. I mean, Noble should just start attacking the Fire Giant and just look to bait Vigilant in. Playing it safe, though.
They're waiting for the fire minion waves. Look at the left-hand side and look at mid. They're nearing that Titan room. You want to put pressure onto Vigilant and make them make a choice where their Titan either taking a lot of damage or defending the Fire Giant.
Interesting. That was watching these teams sort of rush in and then rush back out. Vigilant not willing to commit full-heartedly just yet. Portal Demon gonna go the way of Noble. Nobody cares.
Well, this is important, though. DayToRemeber, he just backed. He went to defend that left side to make sure that the Titan doesn't take too much damage. So now this Fire Giant pool is much, much safer for Noble.
Mirage trying to play it safe. The call is to retreat, and the Fire Giant will go the way of Noble. No contest. And Team Vigilant playing defense.
And that's why Noble is willing to wait it out. Not only because of those fire minion waves, because Portal Demon was about to be up as well. So getting that smaller objective means that if the fight starts going a little bit poorly, they're able to back and heal up very quickly without worrying about not being there for a Fire Giant contest.
Well, the push to the right side right now is left side. Phoenix about to respawn, but it's already dead at the moment. Noble now looking for the push. Riding along with Wowy, who has looked fantastic all day today as well. 6, 1, and 9 on the Hunter. Skeeledon caught out, however. Nice little knock-up coming out from Wowy himself. And it's a little bit of a reset here. The left Phoenix has respawned. Because of the homework we saw from the Hunter earlier, it won't die just yet. Pushing forward, Noble one more time.
Skeeledon is hanging out in the mid lane, trying to make life difficult for MandoWarrior. Final Judgment goes off and brings PainDeViande very low. Whalrus jukes out the execute. Mirage can't find it.
And Whalrus still relatively low. MandoWarrior falls down as well. 2 down on the side of Vigilant. And nobody able to play defense, all birds considered. And this will be a private showing. Titan likely to fall very soon. I don't think Vigilant with 3 players. Does Noble even need this Phoenix?
Yeah, DayToRemeber could still Wowy and the rest of Noble here.
I like that one.
He's still got both relics up. He doesn't have the ultimate, but doesn't really need it. Look at how low some of these tanky members are of Noble. It won't take long. 3, 4, 5 autos for Day to find those kills. That's why you see Noble playing so patient.
Well, now it's a 5-on-3 looking for the additional push here. And the Titan, the last thing standing, 6,000 health, and quickly it will fall. Best of 3, Noble take game 1. Vigilant certainly put up a fight.
Well, all of Noble should just pitch in and buy moswal maybe an edible arrangement, some sort of flower bouquet, whatever, because he gifted that win to the rest of that team. Skeeledon played pretty well with the target selection at the beginning of the team fights. Wubbn had some decent initiations, but Wowy was doing good damage overall. No one on Noble had an awful game by any means, but the difference maker in that game, without a doubt, was moswal.
Easily. It was just a lot of fun to watch him just tear people up. It's interesting. We've seen this guy come up a couple of times, and every time it seemed like he played, 5 games, 6 games, and he had one good split with, I think it was Elevate?
Who was that? I'm sorry.
We're talking moswal.
Moswal. No, not with Elevate. It was with Noble. He was with Noble beforehand.
Yeah. It was Noble once upon a time, and just sort of flashes of greatness. Never really got a chance to really see him stick to it, and here we finally get a chance to see him stick to it.
And this has been his kind of resurgence. Lost that mid lane spot to a Duro on that Noble roster, and then kind of took some time, rededicated himself, and it just has been absolutely phenomenal since his return.
It was Noble. I remember Moswal coming to land. Anyway.